Okay, let's try this one more time. Twitch.tv/HeyAustinGill. Looks like it's working now. I think the problem was bitrate. Okay, I think we're fixed. Hey, web dev journey. Okay, video. Yay, it's working. Yes, fixed. Okay, so the issue is bitrate. Makes sense that it wasn't working when I first started because it's a new computer. I hadn't walked through all of the OBS setup stuff again. So, where are we at? Video's working, audio's working, we're doing well. Hair's looking kind of scraggly as usual. It's just my jam. Voice is sounding crisp. Monitoring you, working on stuff. That's kind of creepy, but all right. Web dev journey, love it. Purple hearts for the win. So yeah, I mean, if you're just like interested in the end product, you don't necessarily have to watch through this. But I am making a wish list of things to get into Fetch that don't natively exist. Side monitoring. Gotcha. Oh, like I am on your side monitor, I think. So I want lazy evaluation. Basically, when I instantiate the promise, I don't necessarily want it to be Feth. So let me ask you this. If it's Feth, why is there 2 H's? And since you're here, I have to rename this now. At least the name of the function. Feth. It's your thing, not my thing, so. But why 2 H's? So that you extend the Feth? Or why not THTH? Cool. So, yeah, what we have right now. Oh man, and that bitrate thing made my computer so much happier too. What we have right now is this is returning a response that's pending. Feth? Wait, because I made a typo? Oh shoot, did I make a typo? I did not make a typo. Did I make a typo? Where am I? Gosh, I tweeted a lot today. Fetch. Wait, where did I make a typo? Or are you just saying like someone made a typo? Like you, like the specific you, which is me, or you like the general you, which is everyone? That was not a confusing statement. Yeah, no, I didn't make a typo. I don't know what you're talking about. Look at this. Look at this blasphemy. Should promise page result in status code of rejected promise? Fetch does not, but a lot of libraries do. So I think you're using the general you, not the me you, you know? Oh shoot, you linked to another status. Oh, I totally did make a typo. Oh, let's put it on and publicly shame myself. Feth. All right, that's the name. That's what we're going to call it. A beautiful name for a beautiful package written by a beautiful author that doesn't know how to spell. That's okay. Thank you, Fimian. Love that you keep all of the receipts. You keep all the receipts. Typo-driven development, TDD. That's right, baby. Let's do this. Okay, so first thing I want to do is finish this wish list a bit. So lazy evaluation, reject on bad status codes. I would like it to not need promise chaining for response for body, right? Something like that. Maybe I actually have like sort of a fetchy thing library that I've already worked on. Doesn't do everything that I want, but it will be a good thing. Oh, here we go. This is what I want. Oh, yeah. Cancelable. Cancelable. I want retries. Retries. We could do like, what is it, where you like incrementally increase the timeout for a retry, but maybe later. I want upload progress. I think I have, let's see. Okay. I think that's what I've got. I've got a few libraries in my utils that I'm going to be peeking over at, but we are going to be trying to write this from scratch. Now, chat. Man, I had some people come on the stream earlier and just like bounce and didn't say anything. So big shout out to Fimian for at least even saying, yo, your stream's borked. So I'm going to let Fimian, you get to decide which one of these we're going to tackle first. What do you think? Actually, no. Fimian, you got to name the thing. So I'm going to throw this up. I wish there was an easy way for me to do a poll in the chat. But let's just say like numbers 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, whatever. You know what I'm saying. Totes, we got to support each other. Totes was the original name that I was going to go with if you weren't going to join the chat, which was a pretty good name, if I do say so myself. It's already taken, but Okay. What do we got? Which one do we want to tackle first? I'm even going to vote on this one. You're probably in opposition to rejection based on status code. Now you feel bad for raining on your parade. You really like this wish list. Yeah, I actually haven't seen that response yet. And what up, Mac? Kevin, I would love to hear your thoughts on why fetch requests should not. I don't know why I'm even saying this. You literally just told me that you responded to the tweet. So let's see. Parameters utility function. I have not. Oh, someone responded to my TypeScript thing. Oh, heck yes. Thank you. Mwah, could kiss you, Sabine. Love you. Where's Kevin? There's Kevin. Okay, let's see this. What's Kevin got to say? It always felt a bit wrong to me that Axios throws exceptions based on status code. If the server responds to the request, you feel like the request has completed without exception as far as the request library is concerned. And Kevin, you are absolutely right. That is an opinion that I share in theory, but in practice, as someone that has to write the code, it is such a pain in the butt to have to either handle every different status code that could be, like in my business logic, or then have to write my own library around either Axios or Fetch or whatever that's going to do that anyway. So I don't know. Maybe we'll tackle that one first. I think I'm going to assume that's where Kevin's vote goes. Also, let me take a sidestep here and just look at one thing that I'm going to do really quick before we get on this is, no, I don't have to get on it. I'm just going to move this over to the window over here, and we're going to have one more thing here that's going to be, I just want to say in general, like, TypeScript, oh gosh, can't write it. TypeScript support, but I don't know if that's going to be like a full feature, but I definitely want it to look like Fetch when you use it, because I personally love things that behave the way the platform does for the most part, and I can kind of like predict how that's going to work. So where are we on the votes? Nobody voted. Oh, Fimian voted. Okay, we got one vote for number 2, reject on bad status code. I love it. We have 2 votes, 2-2. So let's see. Yeah, we don't care that much either way, actually. Love that you feel that way, Kevin. I'm mainly here to support the bad jokes. Yeah, that's what the stream's about, you know? Yeah, you're making things the way you do it. Totally get it. Actually, the fact that fetch doesn't reject upon 400 or 500 codes and lets you decide what to do with it proved very useful for that playlist GitHub bot. 7 for you, huh? Okay. Cool. I'm gonna go ahead and I can listen to the audience, or I can just go with 7 because that's kind of what I want to do. We're gonna listen to the audience. We're gonna start reject on bad status code. Sorry, Mac. But throw in the chat your experience with that, because like, when would rejecting a bad status code actually really break something? Yeah. Because the other thing is, like, what if on specific status codes, I actually want to treat the response differently? If you still have access to the response object, then you can actually kind of reverse the order. So instead of checking the status codes for every single request, you can only check the status codes on requests that fail. And I feel like that logic happens much less frequently. So it's less code that I have to write, less that I have to actually think about. So let's get into this. What we're going to do is, right now we have response.thingy, and then we're logging the thingy, and then we're going to say thingy.then console. I guess thingy.then is going to have the response, and then response dot body, right? And then we will console log. So we'll get the body. Actually, this is actually going to be slightly different too. I want those to go on different lines. This one, I actually want a body of a function so that I return that promise. Did I spell that wrong? I totally did. Return, please. But what we're going to do is console log the request object or response object. So that should actually be running every time I hit save, which is great. Response, it's not body. God, that's the annoying thing. JSON. JSON, not an option either. Okay, text. It's not an option because right now we're getting this just a 200 text status code. I also I want here we go. I want something that's really easy. I want, like, we're gonna add another one here. Totally messing up orders of stuff. But let's go easier access to. No, I did get this. Not need to. Okay. So we're gonna kind of rename this easier response body flash. Yeah. Okay, what do we got? Majority wants rejections. Yeah, this, just to be clear, this is not a democracy. I'm still supreme ruler of what's going to go on. So Mac, don't start getting ideas that taking the high road and saying, well, you're cool with whatever the group wants, because I'm the one with the typies on the keyboard buttons, So let's see. Because you need to fetch the Spotify playlist page for all the new entries. So if it doesn't exist, Spotify responds with a 404 code, which does make sense. And I would treat that as an error in my application. Like, hey, sorry, that doesn't exist. Then you could, like, on that error, you could, I don't know, throw like an error boundary that's like a 404 page or something. Yeah, error handler would have been triggered unnecessarily. See, that's where I would have my error handler also have access to the response object and then be able to put the logic into the error response handler and say, hey, what do I want to do in case of a 404? Maybe I handle it normally, or if it's a 500, I mean, even on the front end, I'm going to handle 400s and 500s differently than network request failed and things like that. So, yeah, I don't know. In my experience, it's worked out. Something in my mouth. My experience, yeah, it's worked out with putting stuff in my mouth. Cool. So there is our response object. When we are dealing with status codes, I think the easiest way to deal with it is actually check if, what is it, response dot okay, I think is what I want, but I don't see it on here. Status 200, okay. I want console log response dot okay. Yeah, there you go. Cool. So what we see is down here, we see, yep, the response is okay. If we change this to a 500 error or 500, we're going to see response not okay. So we're going to have some logic here. I want this to be a function that basically, instead of returning fetch, I'm going to mark this as an async function. No, I don't want to mark it as an async function because of lazy evaluation. So I want this to, for now, return fetch dot then, and then we're going to take the response. Yeah, fill my mouth. Little tiny hair. I'm not crazy, you're crazy. I'm also going to do a little kind of maybe annoying thing. Not annoying for me though. GitHub.com/Austin Gill, baby. And actually I want to go to /configs. So I can grab my ESLint. My ESLint, please. Need all of that goodness. Copy, close. And let's do .ESLint, lint.js. ESLintrc.cjs. Cool. Now, with that, here's where we get into the real distraction zone, because I need to, now it's going to complain about a bunch of stupid stuff that I need. I'm going to make my life easier here in the future. Smurda counter, what's going on? We are doing some stuff today. Doing some stuffity stuff. So let me, yeah, I got it pretty well this. So let's go npx ESLint index, I know it's a problem. CD streams, what did I call this thing? CD totes, and then npx ESLint index.js, and then this is going to tell me, yep, you need to download this thing. Here we go. Pim install ESLint plugin prettier. Let's do that. And then I'm going to run this again. It's going to tell me configure. I'll find the config plugin. Ugh, so annoying. Okay. Hold tight, people. Just gonna get this sorted out really quick. ESLint config prettier. Yeah. Boop, npm id. Burp. Cool. Let's run that again. That's going to tell me, yep, I need you. Oops. Burp. Just going to run through this really quick. Don't mind me. It's okay. Okay, plug in security. Yeah. God, this is so annoying. I wish it would just tell me all of the ones that it's missing, you know? That would... ESLint team. Cool. Dip. Oh, I'm doing this just so that... how am I? I'm doing well, brother. How you doing? Hotel California, that's right. Any chance of sharing the remix? Are you talking about the music? Hell yeah, I can share it. Oops. How do I share it? I don't know. Like this? Yeah, all right, Mac. I mean, you know, I got people that hang out until like 2 or 3 in the morning their time, but it's cool. You're just gonna show up and give me crap about how I'm writing my code? It's cool stuff. Cool stuff. I really appreciate it. Okay, this is working now. If I hit save, I feel like it should have auto-formatted stuff for me. It doesn't look like it did. Did it? No. Awesome. Format on, save, yes. Formatter, ESLint, please. Format ESLint. Default formatter, there you go. ESLint. ESLint. Where is it? Do I not have it installed? Oh, okay, that's the problem. There you go. Install WSL Ubuntu. Okay. Cool. Burp. Reload required. Oh, look at this. Object to object. Someone did a good job. I wonder if someone actually... That'd actually be kind of a cool name for a project. Let's install you. Let's install, yeah, my database visualizer. That one's fun. .env, gotta have it. Gotta have it. What is all this stuff? This feels like stuff I'm not even... Is this all the stuff I have installed? Oh my god. I got a problem, people. Now, Mac, you know what? Part of enjoying this stream is just tossing hate back and forth. I didn't mean to actually... You're good. I'm really glad you were here. So... And I know that, you know, for someone as beautiful as yourself, that doesn't come without exorbitant amount of beauty sleep. So you're doing the world a favor by going to bed early. Again, my library rules. You see that? That's all you got to do. Just come up with a good typo name and people love it. It's undefined. No undefined types. That's stupid. That's on me. That's all right. We'll leave those errors. Now I've got my auto formatting. We're good. Yeah. So, yes, thank you for appreciating that. I'm actually going to fix this really quick. I'm going to take all this stuff. I'm going to put this into a new file, paste it, get these onto the same line, and then we are going to replace all of these. Get rid of those. Get rid of... Let's see, all of these. We're going to get to the end of the line. Delete. Oh, I messed up. Exit. We're going to get all of the colons and... Oh, gosh, come on. All of the colons. Shift, end. What am I doing wrong there? Whatever. Close enough. I think I got that. Get everything onto one line, and then I'm going to say npm id, get all the stuff that I like, copy that, remove it, delete that, and go over and update that utils file of mine so that I just have that in the comments. So let's go GitHub, Austin, configs. So y'all get to. Oh, come on, Firefox. There you go. Add a girl. So I'm going to change ESLint. Should have done this a long time ago. Let's just, just since ESLint team is not going to do it for me, there you go. Everything in one place. One command to run, one file to add. It's all good. No one has to suffer through that again. So, yeah, Kevin, very relatable, but on the next stream, next time I got to do that, it won't be. So let's keep going. We've got a response object. Now I should have response dot okay, right? We're gonna say if not response dot okay, we're gonna throw. What do I want to do? Now, here's where we get into something interesting, because this is where we ask the question, does it make sense to handle business logic inside of a promise, which is kind of annoying. So otherwise, I'm just going to return the response. So we'll start with that. I'm going to look at, do a little cheat and look at what I've done before. Yeah, so I don't actually want to do that. I want to return a promise.reject, which I think a throw would probably accomplish the same thing. But we're going to, yeah, accomplishes the same thing. So we're going to throw the response. This is going to throw the response. Cool. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to come down here and say, if the request completes okay, we're going to go ahead and like console log everything. Otherwise, we're going to say catch error. And I'm going to say console log error, and then we'll console log that error. So this should, in theory, check whether we have any of those bad responses, so 400 or 500 request, and it should tell us what's going on. And here we do see that, in fact, on that 500 request, we get an error and we get that response object, which is, I think, good to deal with. Kind of weird because you're not getting an error object. And let's see if we can do something better about that, right? Don't need you. Let's see. JS error context is something that's new. I feel like pretty soon the error constructors, we're going to be able, maybe someone on the stream knows what's going on with that. But I think that we're going to be able to throw new errors where normally you have like just an error message, which is usually a string that you can throw and includes the stack trace and everything. So you would do something like throw new error, and then you'd say stuff in my mouth, right? Which is not going to make sense to anyone that wasn't on the stream earlier. I hope that doesn't come across the wrong way. And talking about it also is not helping, but there was a hair in my mouth earlier. Don't worry about it. You think you can extend the error object? Yeah, well then let's circle back on that. But normally, yeah, you would throw a new error, and then I guess, yeah, what we would get here is error, right? Let me bump this up. Cool. Y'all see that okay? So we've got error. There we go. That's what I wrote. And then error here is the type, or like the error object that that's gonna print on everything. That's the error message, or I guess this is the error name. This is the error message, and then you have the stack trace, right? And if error here, or you could do something like, let's go const e equals that. Then you have access to things on the error object itself, including, message, name, and stack. Cool. So that's why things get kind of weird by throwing the response, because now I'm saying I got a bad response. I'm going to provide that because I kind of need to for whoever catches this to actually be able to use. There is a cause for the error constructor's second argument. That's maybe what I want. So yes, Kevin, glad you're on the call. So let's see, new error, and let's say Theth error, or we're gonna say Theth not okay, and then we'll provide that response, and let's see what I get there, because at this point I actually don't know. Theth not okay. Okay. But what do I like? Do I have access to this response now? I don't think so. There is a cause. Okay, let me see, Kevin, what you're talking about. JS error cause. Excellent Googling skills here. This is going to make it real. Oh, here we go. Error cause. Okay. Some URL, catch error, failed to fetch plus error message. Okay, that's not... okay. Class custom... Okay, so using a custom error, I guess I could do that. Tuning error... do await fetch caused by e.cause. Okay. Catch block. So I don't. Is that's not. That's not normal though, or that's not available in plain JavaScript, right? Ah, this is what we get with error cause now in stage 3. Okay. All right, let's try this one more time. Kevin. In stage 3, let's go here, cause, response. Close that. And then we're going to console log that. Okay. Maybe. All right, let's try this. Causes that took too much there. We're gonna get rid of you, and you have to run pick up your daughter from daycare. Cool. Yes, Mrs. Pace Otter or Mr. Space Otter. You're gonna have to tell me which one's which. Thanks for the follow. Kevin, thanks for hanging out. Yeah, come back. Go get your daughter from daycare and then bring her onto the stream. She'll learn a lot, and I'll try to not use profanity. Mr. Space Otter. I knew it was that. Actually, I didn't know. Actually, once I read Mrs. Space Otter, I felt really stupid and tried to like backtrack and, you know, make it okay. But okay, so we're gonna try with this cause thing, right? Error.cause. Don't need you. Let's see. Did we get it? Did we get it? Cool. We got the error cause. That's pretty cool. I also actually do want to extend or have a custom error. So we're going to say class. What am I going to call it? I guess there's only one option. Feth error extends error. What is the syntax to do that again? JS class extend custom error. I hate using classes. Isn't that what I wrote? Class do extends. I guess I didn't finish it. Cool. This dot name equals Feth error. There we go. That's what we want. So we are going to throw a new Feth error. The reason we do that is so that it makes it a little bit easier to detect the type of error that we get. Doesn't work the same as error though. Well, I guess I don't need to do that then, huh? Unless I say... no, I guess I could say Feth error, and we're going to say... options, something like that. And that works. Cool. This lets us do some logic with the error.name, I believe. There you go. Feth error. Custom name. Kind of helpful for not a lot of code. So we've got that. We've got this custom error. We're going to say new Feth error. I think it probably also makes more sense to use the response dot status text for that. And with that, we get something like, let's just log the error, right? Cool. Then we get Feth error, internal server error, which makes sense. I think I'm pretty happy with that. I think maybe we'll do like error dot response dot status colon space response dot status text, something like that. I think that kind of works pretty well, right? Feth error 500 internal server error. What do we think? I think that's all right. So did we solve this first one? I think so. What is it? Reject on bad status code. Let's try it out. Let's do 200 request, and we get status is true. We get response okay. Why am I console logging that? Where am I console logging that? We do okay. Let's get rid of that. Cool. We get okay 200 okay. And then on a, what is it, like a 300, we still get an okay response. No, we get multiple choices. I don't know how to handle a 300 actually. I feel like that shouldn't have been an error. 300? Response. I guess I'm just logging it twice. I don't know why I'm doing that. But aborted, false. Aborted, range requested, time allowed, type, default, 300. Really? That is not an okay response. Okay, news to me. I don't know. Let's see. How to handle 300s. Don't know how to do that. On a 400, of course, we're going to get what we expect, which is bad request. Let's say a 401. We'll get unauthorized. Cool. Let's try, how about website that doesn't exist? Fetch failed. That's kind of fine. That's also what we would expect. Where is that happening though? Console log, let's do caught error. I think that is where I'm catching it, no? Yes, so it is where I'm catching it. Type error is fetch failed. Not much I can do about that, I don't think. So in the event that maybe we don't have internet or the website's down or something like that, we will get sort of be treated the same as a 400 or 500 or whatever. Yeah. What is this? This does not need to be on here. No. You're getting off there. You are not chiptunes. How do I remove from this playlist? Booyah. Okay, so we got that. What's next? I don't know. I think I'm feeling pretty good about that. Are we ready to move on to the next thing? I wish I could. How do I cross one of these off? I'm just gonna get rid of it. There was an easy way to do like a strike through on these. What do we think? Anyone got some thoughts on the next challenge to tackle? I think someone said TypeScript support. So I'm gonna move on to that. Let's see. We've got that mention of the parameters on the type. So I think that's what I'm gonna try here. Is instead of explicitly, actually, let me look through that. Instead of explicitly typing these out, let's see, we have a function F1 with those args, and we have type T1, type T2 as parameters. Yes, change to. That's weird. I want to get the parameters from a function. Can I say? No, let's see. Const a equals whatever. We're gonna give this a type of parameters. Sound value but never used. Cool. Console log a. Congratulations, you have meaning in life. Parameters undefined. That should be a TypeScript type. So I'm gonna say I want the parameters to match from the type of fetch, maybe? Oh. Yeah, that works. Perfect. So we're going to say this parameter, because it inherits, this is actually going to be slightly more complex, but it's easier to maintain because now I know that I'm just going to inherit whatever fetch is, so I don't actually have to like maintain these. Hey, that's not quite true. What happened there? Okay. So it's defined here, but not if I use it. Huh. That's weird. So the actual type that fetch uses is that request init or undefined. And if we grab those parameters and try and use it using this parameters keyword, I see the problem because I have it named wrong. There you go. Too many parameters. Okay. Why didn't anyone say anything? There you go. Request init and request info or URL. Perfect. Cool. Everyone happy with that solution? Parameters keyword. Did not know about it before. Now I do. Don't need you. So, I'm gonna say TypeScript support is probably solved because right now, what does it say that it returns? It should, it returns, let's say, return thing equals fetch, and then we'll say return thing. That should have a type. It does. It's a promise of and a response. I'm not going to explicitly add the return type to this function signature because it will infer that. So there's my promise. It's going to return a promise of a response because that's what we get from fetch. Good enough for me. And that's what we have here. All right, I'm going to call that TypeScript support, at least for now, done. We can circle back on it later as this gets more complicated. Any other ideas, requests, things to work on? Fetch failed. I'm actually going to move over to this URL now. So that's what I'm requesting. And we do get the response body. Perfect. Well, let's see. While y'all are thinking of it, these are the sort of options I'm looking at. Let's see if anyone has a preference. Otherwise, I'm picking again. No one is talking up, so I'm going to work on the one that I was most curious about, which is cancelable. So we're going to do that with abort controller. So when here's where things get real interesting. Because of how the abort controller stuff works with fetch. So let's do fetch and abort controller. Fetch abort. Sure. Should look something like. Here we go. This is the syntax. And then you do controller.abort. Here's a full example. Yeah, this is kind of the good stuff, to be honest. So let's do something like this down here. This is the signature I'm looking at. Problem is, well, let's just set this up, right? So whenever we instantiate a feth, we need to do a couple things. We need to set up that abort controller, or create it so that we can actually use it. Go ahead and say const, and then when we call fetch, we need to do a number of things. So this init can have, well, this init, I guess, can have a couple issues. So let's do this. If because there's a chance that I basically want to keep this signature available, which means I need to set up an abort controller only if there isn't already an abort signal, right? So we'll say let signal equal init dot signal, which may or may not be defined, so that we don't get a undefined here. We need to provide a default value for init. We're also going to flag that as optional. There we go. Now it should be an optional thing. I think that's the symbol. I can't tell if it's optional or not. Anyway, if it's not defined, and we're going to say if there is not a signal, I'm going to call this abort signal. Abort signal. If there's not a signal, then we need to create the controller. We're going to say abort signal equals controller dot signal. Yeah. Maybe this may change in a moment. But here's the problem: is I need a way when this thingy is called. I want to, and this is where I definitely am a proponent of developer experience or API-driven development. Like, I kind of want to define the ideal API and then worry about how to make it work. So, kind of jumped the gun there. But essentially, when I call this feth, I'm going to get a promise back, and a promise is no good for a number of reasons. Let me see. Actually, I don't know if I want it with abort. Promise abort signal. Promise. No, when abort is called to fetch promise. Yeah, I want a abort signal on a generic promise. Abort signal. Show if aborted. Cancel a JavaScript. Here we go. How do I cancel a JavaScript promise? Same thing. Do something async, takes a signal, then catch. Okay. Oh, interesting. It's in the DOM, not part of the language. Okay, I want to be able to abort a general promise, not necessarily a fetch. Cancel a JavaScript promise with abort. Oh, I just read that. Promise. This guy's super smart. Abort with fetch. Also mentioned, but doesn't dig deeper into it. Okay, cool. Driving force behind abortable fetch is something which allows you to actually cancel any promise. This is what I want. So abort controller. I'm going to read this really quick. Okay, got that. We know that part. Call a promise with the signal. Okay. So I think what they're saying here is I can all right, let me play with this a bit. I'm going to execute a promise. New promise. Do something async. But how, I don't understand. Inside the actual promise, you listen for the abort. Okay. Okay, so here it is. Do something async, takes a signal. If a signal dot aborted, return promise dot rejected. Okay. I think this is more or less the body of the function that we're going to have to replace this function with. So I guess what we want to do is let's get it working first. Like I said, design the API. Well, the API is this, right? Whatever I get back from this URL or from this request, I want to be able to call something like, let me put this up here. Have it available. I want to be able to do something like this, right? Thingy dot abort or cancel, probably abort, right? Yes, no. This is the hard part. I think that has to be the API. So that's what we're going to build. So for that to work, I need this returned dot thing be a promise. Maybe what we can do is return dot thing dot abort equals, I don't know, console log for now, right? Let's try and get this just to work. Abort, yo. What is it? New promise. Promise resolver undefined is not a function. Oh. Burp. Okay, cool. So we have it executing. We have yo right there. That's good. Which means we should be able to abort this. Oops, we should be able to abort this thing. So in fact, now return.thingy is going to be a little bit of a different TypeScript-y syntax, which will, we have to like, that type is going to be, what is it, return type from fetch. Let's see if I can const a. Yeah, cool. So I want this to be a return type dot fetch, and combine that with something that has abort, which we're just going to make it look like a function for now. Cool. So now thingy dot abort is a function. Cool. That is, if I try and call thingy, I should be able to get dot catch finally, then, and abort. Awesome. So the syntax is there. We're going to keep abort on there. And then I think I still need to do this, right? So we're going to try aborting it. Right now it's not going to do anything, but once we do abort it, then we should get into this catch block down here. And this will all make more sense. Whoops. This will all make more sense once I get into a like a timeout, like a race condition, which is something that, yeah, I want to add something here. Man, these numbers really got messed up. If I need to vote again, we're just going to go timeout. Right? Is that how you spell cancelable? Cancel, I don't know. Alex, that's on you. It feels like you would know how to spell cancelable. Because you've been canceled so many times. Oh, just kidding. Not really. But I probably, because I think that, were you a English major? Cancelable. As in, the guy running the stream is so cancelable. No, theater major. I feel like you were, theater was something there. Okay. So, no college education. Dang. Could have fooled me. This abort signal. I basically want this abort signal to be called. Let's see if I want to call this. So if someone passes in an abort signal, I don't think I necessarily. I think I want to do this after. So I think what's going to happen is I want to have this function defined, because if someone passes in their own abort signal, no, I actually don't care if they have an abort signal or not. Do I? Can a function have two abort signals? Let's just work on fetch for now. So if someone passes in their, I won't even worry about that. Let's just make it cancelable for now. Okay, how do I cancel a fetch again? I have to come here, fetch URL, pass in an object with the init.abort signal. So if, actually, we're just going to override our own. So we're going to say, if there's not init.abort signal, we are going to create a new abort controller and assign init.signal to that abort controller. That way it's going to be passed in to fetch no matter what, but this actually has to come up before we actually pass it to fetch. Duh. Okay, so now we have that abort signal, and if we want to cancel it, how do we cancel it again? Fetch. Oh, it's it won't work if someone passes in their own abort signal, but I think that can just be a caveat that we maybe don't have to worry about, or at least not today. Fetch abort signal, because I think we essentially need to pass the controller dot abort here, right? Controller dot no, controller dot, yeah. So that's going to be the function, which means we have to bring it up into the outer scope and say that return thing dot abort is going to be controller dot abort. So we can also make this better by saying abort is going to be type of controller dot abort, maybe. Let's see, what's this? Seems right. Seems good to me. All right, let's see what we've got. We have error invalid this abort controller. That is not, value of this must be of type abort controller. Okay, I did something wrong. So init.signal, init should be passed in with the signal at this point. So I'm also going to do something, knowing that I'm just going to do something that's going to make my life easier. This is going to be a new promise with resolve reject, and this is going to return that fetch. I think that goes like that. Am I missing something? No. There you go. Resolve reject, right? Okay, let's try not aborting this. See that I just still have everything working. Doesn't look like I have it. It's not working right now. And that's because I don't need to return this. I need to resolve this. So, return fetch. Instead of returning that, we're going to resolve the response. Is that right? Yeah, okay, that's working. Cool. And then in the event, there you go, fetch, then move all that over. We'll throw a dot catch, and we're gonna say error. Actually, I'm just gonna pass it to reject. Cool. Let's make sure everything's still working as it was. Good requests are coming in fine. In the event, shoot, I lost it. URL equals that. If the event is bad, we are still getting our feth error, 500 internal server error perfect. Working as expected. We're just creating promises all over the place. Now, the reason why I want to do this is because I want to actually be able to do like a set timeout. Am I doing this right? this feels like it's kind of not quite there. Basically want to make a fetch request that takes, or a promise that takes too long. So I'm gonna say, oh, here we go. We'll go ahead and fetch this, and then I guess I didn't really need to do all that, right? No, I did. And then we can set timeout. We're gonna do a function that called resolve response after 700 milliseconds. Okay, that, if I cancel this and close it up and I run that, takes a while. If I maybe give it like 3 seconds, we can see that restarted, 3 seconds passed, cool. That timeout is working. The reason why I want that timeout there for now is so that I can do a number of things. Actually, that's going to make it easier to do this like race condition timeout for free. But the reason why is because I want to be able to abort this right away. Essentially do like a set timeout thingy.abort after 500 milliseconds. So hopefully the goal is for my abort controller to say, hey, if this thing takes longer than 500 milliseconds, cancel the request. And we know that the request is going to take longer than 500 milliseconds because we have it set. We don't even have it. We don't have it resolving until after 300 milliseconds, if that makes sense. Any questions so far? Anyone even watching anymore? Now, one of the problems that I have is maybe this is the problem. Call abort controller. Type error disturbed. Type error disturbed. I have no idea what that means. It might mean that I got it right. No. Type error disturbed. Body is disturbed or locked. Okay, DuckDuckGo not helping me. Anyone know what type error disturbed means? I have no idea. Let's try this after 2 seconds. Okay. I feel like I got it right because right now we're canceling a request after 2 seconds. Or we're canceling if a request takes more than 2 seconds for a request that takes 3 seconds. So functionally, it is working. Or at least it looks like it's working. It's behaving the way that it should. I just don't know if the error is there. DOM exception, the operation was aborted. Okay. Seems right. Alright. This is all code that should work in the browser as well. I feel like abort controller is a browser-based thing, so DOM exception, okay. We did get the request was sent and then aborted, and the console says DOM exception, the user aborted a request. I think we got it. I think we got it. Cool. That's pretty nice. Okay, so we don't abort it. I think one thing I need to do is something here. No, this is fine. Okay, we reject that. We resolve that. Okay, cool. Let's resolve on the response. Cool. Got rid of that timeout. With that running, we still get the operation was aborted. That's because I'm aborting it. If I don't abort it, we get the data. That's great. Cool. How are we looking? I need a little bit of break, so what are we gonna do? It's going pretty well so far, right? Feels right. Not too much code. Got a pretty cool new implementation of a project. Let's add a new feature. So we got cancelable. Done. Okay, I think who's gonna be first? Who wants to pick it? Who's picking the next thing? Anyone? Looks like some people have just joined. We are building a improvement on fetch upload progress. Ooh, going for the hard one. Shoot. All right. Fetch progress. Okay. Okay. Fortunately for me, I actually have a library for this. Let's see. No, I'm hold on. I'm gonna just copy this over. I'm gonna show what I've got. So there's two issues here. One is or there's two questions here: upload progress and download progress. I think this is actually the download progress. So let me see. Fetch, upload or download. Let me. That's upload progress. We're gonna go number 7 right now. 1, 2, 3, 5, 6, 7. This is gonna be download progress. So I think the one that we're looking at right now is download progress. Let me see. Fetch. Upload progress. Solution for now. Append. Post upload. Request.upload.add event list. Interesting. On file inputs. Request.upload and event listener progress. Okay, that's one way to do it, I suppose. Not quite right. Fetch API is coming. That was written 2 years ago. I'm pretty sure that we have this now. I haven't done it myself. Huh. Okay, I might be wrong. Maybe it's only download progress? Okay, but let me show how it can be done. And the solution is to essentially create a wrapper around XHR instead of fetch, which maybe I could do. That's what Axios does. So maybe we try it, yeah? Maybe we try it. I don't know. Ganja IO. Hello. Thanks for coming in. All right, Fimian. Now that I've kind of explained how it works, do you still want to see upload progress? Because I'm happy to build that, unless there's something that seems a little bit more interesting. Or anyone else in the chat. This is the wish list of features that we've knocked out several. This is what we have left. First one to throw a number that corresponds to one of the wish list features. You're going to get it. My gift to you. And Alex, I'm sorry if you're upset for having to say it twice, but which have I done so far? Everything that I've done is already off of the list. So these are the only things that are left. Maybe easier response body. Okay, easier response body. That's what we're taking. So what I mean by easier response body is, one, really don't love the whole song, like this whole song and dance. Well, really this right here, right? Essentially, there's a couple things. One, I don't really want to have to call text or .json. I kind of like the idea let's start with the API design, right? I want to move from having to do this to being able to just do this, right? Just wipe that whole that's annoying. Wipe that whole. Good advice. Learned it when I was a little kid. Stuck with me for life. Response. Console log response. So wipe out that whole like .text or .json thing. I want to be able to kind of just get the body, right? So I get this response object. This is what I get. Let's see. Does the response .body or .blob? What's that? What is .body? Is that going to be response.body is a readable stream. So I'm wondering if it makes sense to create an API that instead of doing response.json, boo, or response.text, right? I'm wondering if we can just like get the response.data. Ooh, form data. Response.form data. Interesting. I wonder if that was the data that was... Why would a response need to send form data? No idea. But essentially, let's see, there's probably some stuff I can do with the body. The body is a readable stream, which may be how I do the download progress, right? Like just like get the chunks as they're coming down, maybe. But I kind of been thinking, what if I append something like, let's see, something that doesn't exist there. So response.data. Yeah. How do we feel about that for an API, right? Then like that's like whatever I get from the response, I get to use it. And if it's text, it's like if the response type is text, I can just like grab that text. If it's JSON, I get an object. Pretty good? What do you think? I'm just gonna assume that's a yes because, yeah, why not? Okay, so what we're gonna do is say, if the response is not okay, we're gonna throw that error, right? If console log response dot response dot headers. And I'm kind of tempted to say, hey, if the content type is application or contains application JSON, then we can do one thing, right? We can say if response.headers dot get what do I have? Content type. No, it's not gonna help me there. Content type dot contains dot includes. Contains always gets me. Application JSON. If that, then we can resolve with response.json. Otherwise, we can resolve with response.text. New type error, disturbed. What is disturbed? I am disturbed about this error. All right, fine. This is not working. So what we'll do is then data, or then we can just resolve. So what we're going to do here is return response.json. Otherwise, we're going to return response.text. That should return a promise, which should then be mapped to this dot then. We got something. Response.body isn't a thing. No. Wait, that doesn't make sense either. It should just be response, right? Console log response. Cool. Now, instead of having a text blob like we had before, we are actually dealing with objects, which is great. Okay, so that's not quite what I want to resolve with. I want the data, and then I actually want to append the, what I want to do. No, wait, that was right. I actually want to modify this response object. So I'm going to say response.json and response.text. Then we're going to get the data. And we're going to say with that data, we're going to say that the response.data equals data. And then return response. Something like that. Cool. That gets me a response object. That way, when I get this, down here, I still want to be working with the response object, but I want to have access to this .data property, which, as we can see, when we fetch JSON, we get back a bunch of an object. And when we fetch just text, that's going to be a bad error. cancel that out. And we'll say when we get just text. So that's the JSON request. Blah, 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 and that is the text request or response. Cool. We have simplified the API. I should probably like put this into two different files so that we can actually see. I'm going to do that right now, actually. We're going to copy, paste. We're going to call this you. There we go. Feth.js. And then index is going to have that. And then let's see, we are going to say const feth equals require. You know what? I'm gonna make this even better. I'm gonna say that this is module. No, type. Type is module. There you go. Now I can say, yeah, that's good. We're gonna import feth from ./feth.js. And then we've got our wish list, we've got our class, we've got our controller, we've got feth, and we can just execute it there. So that is our application. This is our library. Don't need any of you. And we are going to, don't need this logic here. And I'm going to export default feth. Cool, still running? It's still running, awesome. That's great because now, let's see, that's library code, that's package.json, ESLint. Now we can see that, yeah, we basically went from, let's see what it looked like before. It was response, and then it was like return. Well, I guess it was like this, right? This is probably what it would look like more in real world application. JSON. Yeah, something like that, right? And then it was like JSON, and it was console log, whatever, JSON. Like, this is what it used to look like. Then catch, and now it's not gonna be like a major improvement or anything, but we can get response console log response dot data. And the cool thing here is the response object is still itself an object, except that we've appended this data property onto it. Woo! I got Ganja IO's follow. Thank you very much. It's very validating that people follow me. My sense of self-esteem is closely tied to the numbers on the screen. It's going up, baby. Who needs therapy? One thing I want to do here is we're missing one thing. Response.data, right? Right, we've got this response object. We can check everything on it, but we are missing, let's see, A, B, 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 C, F. We're missing something between clone and format data. And I'll give you a hint. It's the same thing without the form. That was just a stupid joke. Yo! Hype, hype, hype! So how do we fix that? Well, we say when we do the type definition here for the, what is it? The return thing takes a, the returned thing what is the return thing? It is a, yeah, promise that has a port. It's a okay. It's not a promise that resolves to a response. It is the return type. This is gonna get a little bit funny. The return type of fetch is a promise that will also have abort. I wonder if I can do this. It's a promise that resolves. Oh gosh, this is so hard to think about. Let me see. Let me see. Let's do a type definition. Type def of return type from fetch is the R, we're going to call it. And if I hover over that, it should tell me it's a promise that resolves to a response. So I need to modify that. It's no longer going to be a response. This is going to be a promise that resolves to a response object that also has data, which is really it's any, right? Okay, I think it's something like that. So this is looking really ugly, but oh, you got a meeting? All right. Ganja, yeah. Therapy, let's see. Don't need therapy, just need your follows. Yes, no. Definitely still need therapy. Yeah, I make a lot of jokes, but real story therapy is great, especially if you need it. But yeah, the cool thing here is now we should be able to see that response has that data thing. Data can be anything because, of course, as someone that's executing this fetch request, I mean, I guess it could be a string or an object, but at the point that I call it either a string or an object, TypeScript's just going to say that it's anything because an object is just any. Well, I guess I can say, I don't know, let's try it. Let's do a string or an object, or it could be undefined. Could probably be null too. Data is any. So, yeah, we'll just stick with any. That's the kind of simple rule. Cool. So, Fimian's gone. Who wants to... Okay, so we said easier response body. I'd say we probably solved that. I think I can still do... Yeah, let's like get rid of all that. Boom. Easier, right? This gets a little bit... I mean, I can even show... I'm going to show like the async await async function because I think... What's this little... Prefer top level await over async. Okay, maybe if you want to fix that, yeah, we can do that. And we'll say const response. Actually, I'll even go like say data equals thingy, which is, yeah, that's right. Console log data. And then, yeah, we'll go ahead and wrap all that. Hey, come on, where's my thing? There you go. In a try catch error, and then something like that, right? I think that's right. There you go. You're complaining. Top level await, huh? Okay, we'll try it. Wait, where's my await? Oh, there it is. Await thingy. So if you're complaining, I guess we can just do this. Is that right? Oh, look at that. It works. Top level await for the win. Awesome. So yeah, that kind of simplified some things, I think. You tell me. If I abort, we get the operation was aborted. Freaking awesome. If we console log the thingy, we should get some sort of promise. Promise pending, which also has this abort function, which is anonymous. Excellent. Okay, anything next? Any questions about any of the other options? I'm gonna add another one here. Let's see. 1, 2, 3 is going to be simpler post put patch delete. Now let's just call it simpler HTTP verbs. So like instead of having to say like fetch right now or feth, if we wanted to do a post request, this would have to be like method post, you know? And another API that we could do is just be like feth.post URL, right? Just a thought. I'm actually going to move this. So, lazy evaluation. Does everyone know what what I mean when I say lazy evaluation? Because that's kind of a cool feature too. Just going to say it, just to throw it out there. Ask you what that was. See? I ask if anyone has questions. No one says anything. Lazy evaluation is... let me show you what lazy evaluation is. If I do network requests and I open up the console here and I say const art equals fetch. No, that's not gonna work. Const r equals fetch, right? So the problem here is, what if I never actually use r? Because right, like r would be like r.then, right? Then it's like, oh, console log, right? Then I actually use it. But if we run through that again, and I clear the network request, we can see it already got called. That request already went out. So lazy evaluation is to say, hey, instead of executing the promise when the promise is instantiated, execute the promise, or yeah, like, I mean, it's technically, well, yeah, instead of instantiating the promise when I call the function, instantiate the promise when I call .then method. Yeah, I mean, technically, like, I was stumbling over the words because I don't think you actually execute a promise. You, like, instantiate it, and the act of instantiate it carries forth the action, right? It creates the promise, and part of the promise is the action of, in this case, doing a fetch request. But the lazy evaluation is to say, I'm actually going to not use promises. I'm going to create a function or create an object that looks like a promise. They're called venables, So I'm going to create an object that has a .then method on it. And as long as you have a .then, you can call that function and return a promise, which would then instantiate the promise, which would then like execute the fetch request in our case. Or you can also await, like I can say const o equals an object that has a .then, which is I don't know, a function that calls console log ayo any dayo. There you go, like that. And I can do something like await o. It's not a promise, but await works on it just fine. Really weird, isn't that? I should probably there you go. Yeah. So let's look at the value of these, right? Right now I'm just kind of throwing out features that we could add without any sort of context. So as someone that has built a number of websites, I look at these and I say, oh, there's like, the feature is not the value. The context in which you use it is where you derive the value of the feature, right? So lazy evaluation says, how many times do you make unnecessary HTTP requests, for example, because you've created a promise, but then for some reason, maybe the user moved away and like you didn't actually need the results of that function. That's maybe not actually so interesting. I just think it's an interesting problem to solve. So that's why I'm like, yeah, that's kind of cool. Maybe more realistic is like a timeout, right? So I want to make a request for an API, but I don't want to wait around for too long. And so I can have a timeout that says, go and like instantiate this promise, get it started, and then I'm going to wait 500 milliseconds. And if it doesn't resolve within that 500 milliseconds, throw an error or like reject the promise, right? And the simpler HTTP verbs, well, I guess the value of the timeout or when you would use it, I don't know how to explain a good example of like the value proposition there, but just preventing a user from waiting around too long. Yeah. So maybe the user's trying to do something. Usually it's a fetch request. The fetch request took too long, and instead of having them continue to wait, and maybe they're like staring at a spinner, you could have a pop-up that says, hey, it looks like this request, well, technically, because it would fail, it would say, hey, the request took too long, try again later. Maybe a better user experience is to say, because we now support abort signals, you could throw up a pop-up that is unrelated to the promise to begin with. But you could have a pop-up that says, hey, it looks like this request is taking too long. Do you want to cancel? In which case you could then call like thingy.abort, right? I'm going to change the name of thingy. We're going to call this request. That makes way more sense. Right, so that's where, I don't know, those are some of the use cases for timeouts. Of course, in the event that we do implement a timeout, if you wanted, you could have catch logic that says, hey, in the case of an error, I probably need different types of error objects to deal with. So when I'm working here, I have like a generic fetch error, and maybe I have a new error object that's like a timeout error, or maybe like, I don't know, some of the context around it that I provide. It's like, hey, the request timed out, which I think maybe there's even a status code. Timeout 408. You could technically do like a synthetic request timeout. That'd be kind of cool. Okay. Next thing, the simpler HTTP verbs. I think I already explained this one. This is basically the simplifying so I can say something like feth.post instead of feth URL and then have to pass in the method. It's kind of tricky to do, but I've done it. It just requires kind of rewriting the library a bit, but it's not that big of a deal. And retries. So this is purely developer experience. The user doesn't get any benefit. In fact, the user has to deal with the larger library to download, but not significantly. Retries. So this is actually a really nice feature to have, because you can say in the event that the service that you're trying to fetch experiences an error, maybe it times out, maybe, I don't know, what are some other reasons? Maybe the user has spotty connection, right? You may want to retry. So what a retry does is basically add some logic that says, hey, I want to send this request. If this request fails for any reason, run it again and let's try, right? And you can set, so the syntax for that might be something, or the API for that might be something like this, where you have this request object that has, or this, what is it? The fetch init object, I think it's defined, it's called. And you could add another property here that's like retries. And the retries could be something like 4, right? And there's a little, or maybe the retries expects, I don't know, retry could be like retry count is going to be 4, and then you could have it be like incremental, or what is it, exponential, yeah, exponential back off. Exponential could be like true. So what an exponential back off is I'm going to retry this for, let's say, what is it? Retry, and then do wait something like 500 milliseconds, right? Wait 500 milliseconds. So yeah, this could be like the API, and you say, I want you to retry a maximum of 4 times. So if it fails 3 times, we're going to try 1 more time. But you may not want to, like, if the API is just like down, or if the user doesn't have internet access, it's going to fail right away. So you don't necessarily want to retry immediately 4 times in a row, because 1, you're doing unnecessary work, and 2, you kind of blow through your retries. So if the user loses connection for 2 seconds at the time that you try to make that request, you're going to run through those 4 retries, and 2 seconds later the user is going to have connection, where really if you just waited 2 seconds and retried, you would have been fine. So you probably want to have some logic to say, in between tries, let's wait a certain amount of time. Now that's where this wait 500 milliseconds might work, right? And then you could have an exponential back off, which is, instead of waiting 500 milliseconds between every single retry, you can wait, let's say 500 milliseconds the first time, and then you multiply that by 2 to get to a full second in between, and then you can multiply that by 2 again to get to 2 seconds between the next retry, and then between the last retry you would then wait like I don't know, 8 seconds, something like that. So that's what the exponential back off would be, and that's handy because, yeah, like basically the more you have failed retries, the longer you can probably wait. It's kind of a nice feature because, again, you don't necessarily want to keep hammering a retry if it's like just a matter of time. That is retry logic, and that's not going to mean anything, so we can leave that in there. Upload progress and download progress. Let's see. I am going to be finishing the stream in about 40 minutes. So I don't think, I don't know, I probably could do one of the two. I kind of don't want to though, because it's a pain in the butt. But let me walk through the use case. Upload progress is, let's say, you know, if you want to send a post request, usually, or what a lot of people do, or what you maybe, hold on a sec. Nice, you were about to ask, what about client error responses like 400 codes? Ganja, I'm glad you asked. We already covered those. Look at this. So if the URL is this HTTP status, it's going to handle whatever status you pass to this, right? We have it set up so that when I experience an error, I'm actually going to get this like synthetic or custom Feth error object that's going to tell me what the status code was. And I'm actually going to delete that colon. Hold on a sec. Where is it? There it is. Okay, so I'm actually going to get the error and then colon the status code and then the status text. Status text, yeah. And then I still get the response object as well, so I can like work with that. So we already implemented it. I will push this up to GitHub, or if you want, I got some time. I can walk through that logic real quick. This is basically it. Instead of returning a fetch request, we return fetch, get the response from the fetch request, check if the response is not okay. If it's not okay, we throw this new error object. And that's pretty much it. So we throw this new error object. We provide the message. The message. Yeah, we provide the message that we construct from the response status and the response status text, and then we provide this cause, which I think is a relatively new thing in JavaScript. I actually want to see MDN error cause. Cows. Yeah, I don't know where I would find this documentation on this, but I think this is new. This is something that I had to actually kind of learn the syntax today, but you can provide the error constructor with a context object, I believe, and part of that you can provide a cause. So because we're providing the cause there, we can actually, let's see, we throw that gets caught here, and then we pass that catch to the returned promise from this function. Tell me if I've lost you there. That was kind of a lot. There's a lot going on here. I'm happy to walk through it in more detail because you weren't here earlier. So I'm gonna take a moment. I'm gonna appreciate the hot emoji, not emojis. What do you call those? Stickers? What do you call these things? Emotes. I'm gonna appreciate your hot emote game, not because your emotes are hot, but because your game is hot. I don't know you, so that shouldn't be it. That should be fine, right? Brent, we're good with that, right? Brent? Wait, Brent? We're good with that, right? Yeah, we're good. Thank you. You'd like to see a run through. Okay, we good. So you want me to, what you'd like to see a run through. I don't know if that means you'd like to see the code run through, or you'd like me to, you want me to walk through the steps of the, I'm going to walk through it. Okay, let me document this, right? Let's create a custom, what is this thing? Return object for fancier properties. I don't know. Basically, the reason why we want to do this is because we want this return promise with custom properties. So what we do here is we want this API to behave sort of similar to fetch, meaning if you know fetch, you know how to use it. But there's some things that we want to layer on top of what fetch does that doesn't destroy how fetch works. But if you know fetch, you know how to use this library perfectly. But you can also learn a couple things that it does on top of that. So in order to do that, we need this function to work like fetch is a function that takes a URL and an object. That's fetch's input, same signature. And it returns a promise. So here, the thing that we're returning is this new promise, right? Now, inside of this promise logic, this is where we actually implement the fetch execution. Now, this itself is going to return a promise. Now, if you have a promise that inside of which returns a promise, eventually you could just get promise chaining, and they just kind of like eventually you just get the resulting promise, if that makes sense. You know what? That's not even true. I don't think I even need that. No, we don't. So never mind. Forget what I just said. That's not important, because the important thing is inside of the body of this promise, we are going to execute this fetch request. I may even clean this up with async await, but I'm not going to for now. Am I going to? I'll do it later after I walk through this. So we execute this fetch request, and that's going to return a promise. So on that promise, we call the .then method. With that, what we get back, or inside of that .then method, we have access to the response from that fetch request. In that response, we can check the status of the response and say, hey, is the response okay? Meaning it's a 200 status code or the 400 or 500 you asked about. If the response is not okay, then what we're going to do is we could technically reject the parent promise that we're working with, which is probably okay. I could have done that. But instead, what I'm going to do is throw an error here. I throw the error here because I know eventually down here, I'm going to catch that error, and I'm going to pass it to reject anyway. I don't know what your level of programming is, but it's basically what we're doing here. That syntax where we just pass the function handler or the reject function to the catch block. This is the same syntax, right? I can do it's a function that takes the error, passes it to reject, or I can just have reject be the function that accepts that error. Hopefully that's clear. Again, this could probably just be like reject that error. Yeah, I could probably just be reject that error. Then I would probably have to return as well so that I don't continue execution. And that's fine, but I kind of like how this looks better. So, yeah, that's the error handling. I stopped documenting my code. Let's see. Initiate fetch. I don't need to document that. Okay. In the event of I don't know, bad requests, throw custom error with access to response object. Cool. Okay. So that is all of the like bad request stuff. All the logic right there. I mean, technically all the logic is also including all of this stuff, but the part specific to bad requests right there. Next, we want to say make it What is it? Detect JSON and detect JSON. Let's see. Return. No. Resolve. Sorry. Resolve to object if response is JSON, and do otherwise resolve with text. And this actually isn't even this is not resolve. This is no. Append. Let's see. Append. Yeah, what do I want to do? Append a data object to response if JSON. Yeah. Otherwise, append data text to response object. So hopefully that makes sense. Basically, these two like two chunks of code here, these are related. This is where we say, regardless whether it's JSON or not, we are always going to modify the response object to append a data property. But what is that data property going to be? Depends on if the response header content type is application JSON. This is kind of redundant, but we have to do it this way because we can only call either response.json or response.text once. I guess what we could do is say something like this. We could change this and say, let response method equal text. And then we could say, if we do this, we could say response method equal JSON. That should be text, that should be JSON. And then we technically don't need to do this. We can go burp, 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 burp. And then we can say response. I'm just going to call this method. Method. So we're going to call the response method and then grab that data, modify the response object, and then resolve with the response. Make sense? So let's do this. So what do I want to say? Grab response.json for JSON. Otherwise use response.text. And then we'll say here yeah, we'll do it. We'll say append data property to response object with results, something like that. So yeah, that should kind of explain what's going on. all clear. Oh, and then there's one more thing that we added that you probably weren't around for, because I think this was like the first thing that we tackled. Essentially, one thing that's handy is being able to abort a request. So if I hit that abort thing, I actually get this: the operation was aborted. That's an error, and that error is caught here. So I basically set up this fetch request, and then I abort it. And I should actually be able to put that here, right? So let me make sure that this still works. If I do this and I have this set timeout, I think this set timeout has to, no, I want this, let's see, let's take the response. Cool. Got something wrong here. What am I missing? Ah, there. Okay, so if I do this, this should be working just fine. Cool, we get that internal server error. That's kind of to be expected. If I do a happy request, we should see a bunch of objects. No, we get a single object. Why do we get a single object? ID, did I... Ah, because I did a post request. Okay, that makes sense. Yep, so we get a bunch of objects. Cool. Cool, I'll leave that post request in there because that makes sense. That is technically the response, which would have been the object that we just created. Now, what do I want to do? I want to, abort this request. Now, this response comes back before I have the opportunity to abort it because it's so damn fast. So what I'm going to do is move this timeout here. We're going to wait. 300 milliseconds should be enough. Doesn't seem to be enough. Oh, no, that actually makes sense because I'm obviously awaiting this request. So I think what this would have to do, how this would have to work is, I think I'm going to await promise.all. How would I do this? It would just kind of work like this. Oops. I would basically do this like that, then console log. Sure. Good enough. Request dot then. What is it complaining about here? Attaches callback. The callback is due when the promise is resolved. Prefer top level wait. Oh yeah, that's fine. Not really an error. Cool. A lot of talking to myself there, but what we added is the support for this feature where we can say, hey, I want to execute this request, and then at some point, this mouse thing is killing me. Yeah, I need to modify that setting. But what I'm getting at is you can basically instantiate this promise and send it off, and then at some later point, maybe the user maybe you want to add like a cancel button, you can have this request.abort, right? So a user can cancel a request, which is pretty interesting because then I think what you could do is on a UI, if a user like smashes a submit button on a form a bunch of times, within a certain amount of a threshold, you could cancel every previous request. So then you only get the most recent request. I don't know, something like that. But yeah, let's go ahead and undo all of that work that I was just doing. Sure, good enough. Would be a nice tool to add a cancel button. Yeah, well, so because this is just a JavaScript, you can't have a cancel button, but when you build a UI with this library, you could attach a cancel button that would be connected to, or would then execute this request.abort feature. That's already built in though. And the way we do that is when we call fetch, we create an abort controller. We assign the init.signal to the controller.signal method. Okay, yeah, just making sure. And then that init is going to be passed to fetch. Fetch can request an object that contains a signal, and if that signal is an abort signal, I don't know, this whole, like, the whole abort signal song and dance around fetch and promises in general feels a little kludgy to me, but I don't know, at least we have that as an option. All this to say that we can then call cancel on it. So we do all that, yeah, so that we can modify this return thing. I'm going to rename this to the I don't know, promise. I don't think that's a protected keyword. Doesn't look like it. Cool. All right. So I think we got this abort thing figured out. Signal, if signal aborted, promise dot reject. Yeah. I don't think we need to do that. Return new promise resolve. Promise something fake timeout. Resolve promise resolved. Cool. I think we got that sorted. We at least got the abort stuff figured out. So I don't think I need to do that anymore. So I have 18 minutes. I've talked through a bunch to buy time so that now I have too short of a time to even try to tackle upload and download progress. But I'm happy to jump on some of the other ones. Which one of these top 4 seem like the most valuable to y'all? Let's see what this request is now. Yeah, okay, cool. Lazy eval. All right, lazy eval. Okay, I think this one's going to be a little bit tricky, but basically what we've got here, the way we check it is we console log this request. And right now what we get in return is the, let me get some of these other console logs out of here. Cool. I don't even think we need to await the request. Okay, I think we're good there. Yeah, so essentially all I want to see is this thing here. The fact that this is a promise in a state of pending is the problem, because that means that a promise was created that has already been kicked off. So the fact that when this function is called, it creates this promise, that's going to be the issue. I think what I want to do is actually, instead of returning this promise, I'm going to return an object that has a then method. And for now, we'll just return console log start. And then we also need to take this abort and put that on there. So now, very similar to the promise that we had, which had essentially the state of the promise, and this it basically had a .then method and an abort method. We have a .then method and an abort method. And I'll actually put that back just so that we still have it as it was. Okay. .then. Do not add .then to an object. No thenable. Let's quick fix that. Disable unicorn for this line. Yep, sure. Cool. So then what this function will do will actually return this promise, I think. So now we have, yep, .then and abort. So I think what I can do is take this function, open it up, move all this into it. Perp. There you go. And then we no longer need to actually create this. We can probably just return this promise. If I've got that right. Which means we don't need this and we don't need that. And that should be it. So now we've got this function, which itself is a thenable function, I think. I don't know. Could be wrong. Could be wrong about this, but let's see how it works. Let's go to index. Let's await that data and see what we get back. Fingers crossed. No. The fetch API isn't. Trace warning to show where the warning was created. App crash, waiting for files to change. Okay, where is my problem? I'm gonna resolve. Then async. Okay, let's do this. It's a function. Let's see if I can return promise dot resolve data. Nope, app crashed. All right, where's my error then? Wait, request console log error. Catch. That should. Okay, request. Ah. Okay, let's try something else. Let's go. Request.then. Ah, I think I see what the problem is. I'm not passing a handler function. Console, yep, I think that's going to be it. Crest.then console log. That's not actually going to do anything. Makes sense. So we're going to say request.then is a function that takes a callback and executes that callback with this promise. Is that right? .then. No, got something wrong. Oh, no, I see. Yeah. Oops. Calls it with that promise. Cool. And we'll just return here. Cool. We have promise of data. Awesome. I think that was it. Let's close that, close that. I don't think we need to return. I think we can just do the callback with this new promise. Well, I'll just say promise equals this new promise, and then we will call the callback with that promise. Did I not do that right? Promise with the promise. There you go. Callback with that promise. Okay, maybe I have it right. We have a promise.pending now. No, not quite. How do I make it venable? Then let's see. So that would be something like I get the data, and then basically this is what I want to do with the data. This is the syntax. This is how I want it to work. Right now I'm getting a promise. I think this needs to return. Okay, so maybe this needs to return promise.resolve. That doesn't make sense. I should just be able to, I don't know. Still get that promise.pending. Oh, I promise there's a way. Promise there's a way to do this. This. At this point, that's what I want. Don't need this. Okay, with that, I'm getting 200 okay. Ah. I think I see the problem. This should be const. This should be request.then gets the response, and then console log response.data. Is that it? Okay, I don't see much difference between these two syntax. Besides that, right? Am I missing something? Is anyone seeing something I'm not seeing? Data is going to be undefined. Data is undefined. Okay. You're semi-lurking. Can't help. That's all right. This is weird. Okay, so... Okay, let me see. If then... Yeah, I feel like that then should be... Maybe I don't need this callback. Just return this promise. No, not quite. Okay, let me see if I can get some help here. Lazy evaluate promise. Yeah, I think I need it. I promises lazy evaluate it. Should we say yes? Is guaranteed. Specification of promise has a step. Executor undefined. Resolving. Where executor is what you pass the promise constructor, and call results in that code being run. Well, I'm not going to read it through all that. Okay. Lazy promise, lazy evaluation. Okay. Let me see this. There's one more thing. There's one data structure. All right, gonna have to look at some other code. Let's see. Index.ts. ASAP. Cool. This is. Lazy promise. Well, I don't think I'm going to be able to solve this one in time. Let me see. Let's see if I can do lazy promise. I'm gonna keep going though. See if I can figure it out. Constructor, throw in type error. This dot promise equals this dot promise or new promise this dot function. Okay. Well, that's like. Okay, so we extend the promise. We say constructor equal. I mean, this would make it super easy if this is. If I can do this. Constructor is a function. That makes sense. Or constructor takes a function. If type of it is not equal function, that would make sense. This underscore equals function, and then dot then would say this dot promise equals this dot promise, or new promise this dot function. Okay. Yo, what's up? Very airy. Hi, glad to have you. I am about to drop off, but I am curious to see. I'm gonna play around with this really quick. Let's see. We're gonna say. Whoops. We're gonna say create this class, lazy promise, right? And then we're gonna say. We're gonna say fetch. Let's see. Let p1 equal fetch the root of this, and we can see that. Where'd that request go? That request went off right away as soon as I instantiated it. And if we say let p2 equal new lazy promise that takes what was it? It was resolve, reject, right? Because it's supposed to behave kind of like a promise, I think. Actually, I should. Yeah, let's see. Resolve, reject, and then we're going to call. Fetch. Dot then the response, and resolve with the response. Okay, so I didn't see that go off, but if we say p1 dot or whatever console log await p1, we get that response. No new thing because it already was sent. If we say console log await p2, we get resolve is not defined. That's because I can't spell. Dang it. Okay. Try that one more time. Await p2. Okay, okay, let's try this one more time. Clear this out. P1, no. P1 equals that. It went off. If we await P1, we don't get a new request because it already got sent. If we say P2 equals that, we don't get the new request yet. And then if we await P2, that's when it goes out. Okay. Well, shoot, that's good enough for me. I'm going to go ahead and just copy some code and paste it. We have the error. We have this new class of lazy promise. Dot then, that's going to complain. We're going to say, hey, go ahead. Oops. Go ahead and quick fix that. Just disable it on that line. And then this is actually going to be a new. Oh, shoot. I had this right. Let's undo the work that I had before I tried to get all smart with the dot then thing. and we can just put that lazy promise in there. And then we should be able to replace this new promise with a new lazy promise, which I'm actually going to treat this type as, like if I say lazy promise is going to be any, we're going to say that this is actually the type of promise. So a little bit of magic going on there. This is returning promise. That should say, okay, that should be working. Cool. We are getting our data request. And then if we do something like set timeout function that waits something like 2 seconds to then make the request, we're going to do something like this. We're going to say console log initiated, and then we're going to say, or no, created, and then whoops, no, what did I do there? I'm going to say initiated, and then we'll say, well, we'll have the data. So turn that off, clear the screen, run it again, created, waits 2 seconds, initiated, and then we get the response. There you go, lazy evaluation. I can't take full credit for that, but you know, sometimes part of being a dev is not knowing how to do everything, but knowing where to find things and knowing what you're looking at. Yeah, I could walk through this if I needed to. Basically, it's a constructor that takes a function. The function should behave essentially the same as the function that a promise would expect, where you get resolve and reject. The only difference is this .then method is, the lazy promise has its own .then method, which is kind of customized and says, hey, let's, instead of creating the promise when this is created, it's really annoying. Instead of creating or instantiating the promise when the lazy promise is created, we wait until the .then method is called to instantiate the promise based on the function that is passed into the constructor. And I don't know why you need this .promise equals this .promise or new promise this .function, but yeah, you basically say promise then apply. You apply the arguments of, where are these arguments coming from? I guess. Okay, I am a little bit lost there. I'm not sure I can competently explain everything that's going on, but I can get us close enough, I guess. That is all the time I'm going to have for today. So we covered quite a bit. It's not a ton of code. 69 lines of code, in fact. Comments and everything included. So, and that gives us, let's see, we have lazy evaluation solved. That leaves us with not a lot more to desire, or to be desired. I should probably have kept track of the things that we did complete. Let's say nailed it on what do we get? Lazy evaluation. We got better simplified body data flow. What do we get? Let's see. In here we got cancel support, or I guess we'll call it abort. Call it what it is. Abort support. We got error handling ish. It's not really error handling, but it's like it's idiomatic errors. Idiomatic errors. Oh shoot, I still have this timeout in here. We'll take that out, or we'll just like lock whatever, get rid of that for now. And yeah, let me see. No, let's see. I want to see console. What happens if I do new promise with number 1? Type error, promise resolver is not a function. Okay, what if I throw in nothing? Cool. Undefined is not a function. What if I throw in an object? Resolver object is not a function. Null is not a function. Okay, so I think what I want to do is have this error sort of match closer to, and this actually may be different based on browsers. So I'm going to do based on this Chrome one, but we're going to say type error that, and let's see, we're going to say perp. I could say promise resolver is not a function and keep it as simple as that. Or I could try something like function dot toString. I'm just going to keep it simple. Promise resolver is not a function. There you go. That's a little bit nicer. Always. Yeah, 69 lines of code, baby. We've written the perfect library. We literally can't write anymore. Actually, if we want to add more code, we just have to fit it into the lines that we have. That's it. Or we're going to have to write like 351 more lines of code. So that's it. Thank y'all for hanging out. Any feedback, any thoughts, anything you want me to work on next? I think should be back on next week. May continue this. May move on to something else. I don't know. Let's see. Let's see how we're feeling. Dang, we crushed it, huh? We crushed it. Let's see what this request even, what is it? It's a lazy promise. Good enough for me. Will this get published? I can publish it right now. Double dog dare me? Oh, dang, I don't know if I can publish it right now. I actually am not signed into GitHub. Or let's see. Let's initialize Git repository. Whoa! Right. Dot git ignore. Cool. I need to. Okay, how do I do this again? Brand new computer. Oops. Okay, well, I'll do it over here. Let's go. Email is cool, and then this. Okay, let's try this one more time. Cool. I should be able to. Essentially, GitHub wants to sign into GitHub. Cool. Yep, we'll open that. Okay, we'll open that. I'm gonna sign into GitHub. Alex, I'm sorry. Fess? I don't mind calling it in this project, but I think I'm actually gonna call it Totes in my repo. So, GitHub public repo Austin Gill /totes. Oh, and I messed something up. I have left it on master branch. That's all right. GitHub Austin Gill. Let's see. Let's go Austin Gill /totes. Booyah! There it is. Anyone want to play with it? You can check it out. I am gonna change my settings to branches. Let's rename that to main. Cool. And close that, and we can clean this up. Git status, git check out main. Git checkout branch main. Git branch master. There you go. Cool. Oh wow, you should totally call it my goats. Headless with view. Let's see. What are you saying? Will this get published? It will not get published on NPM most likely. It is something that, well, for one, it's just not feature complete. Maybe by the time I'm done with it, I think that there is a little bit of API developer experience discovery that I want to do, because I think I've built a couple libraries like this that return or resolve to that response object, and I think in use I've run into some weird situations with it, but I don't remember what those are. And I remember studying other libraries and their sort of API design and seeing something that I really liked, but I couldn't remember off the top of my head. So before it does get published, I want to revisit that, and I also want to finish these features that we have missing. So what do we have? Ganja enjoyed the stream. Thank you so much. I enjoyed your company. Yeah, if you have any other ideas, I'm keen to work on stuff that other people are interested in. Part of what I wanted this to set up for, kind of the direction I want to go, is I write a lot of content on my WordPress blog, and then I like to syndicate that, but I don't like any of the systems there are for syndicating. So I think I kind of want to create a script that I can run that will publish to all the places that I want, like maybe updates like Hacker News, or I don't know, whatever I can automate. There's places that I want to send that data. So we'll try and do that. And for that, I needed a good library for making those API calls. Double dog dare you. Bring it on. You just refactored our entire JS code base for your WordPress template. You're gonna make a wrapper for it. You call it my goats. Yeah, we'll see. But anyway, thanks for hanging out, y'all. This was a blast. Alex, big ups to you for giving me the heads up that my stream wasn't working to begin with. It looks like we got it sorted out. And yeah, I'm on like a 1 day a week cadence right now. I kind of want to get back up to 2 days a week. So if that's something you'd want to see, let me know. I also need to update my channel so y'all know where to find me. with all my details. Right now, all I have is, to be honest, I'm still figuring this out. I need to update my panels. All right, y'all, hit me up on socials, and it was a pleasure. Thank you. Mwah. Love you. I will catch you next Wednesday at 1:30 Pacific, unless I decide to change to 2 days a week. All right. See ya. No, you know what? I'm gonna do a raid because Coding Garden is on. So we're gonna raid Coding Garden, and they are usually doing some cool stuff. So they're gonna be stoked. They're gonna be stoked that we're gonna be raiding hard. It's 5 of us, but it's 5 like hardcore, you know, could take on an army sort of people. So yeah, let's do it. I'll catch you over there.
Would be the completely